That would suck. All right, guys. I'm back. We're back. Yeah. Gary's being amazing, and he is taking some stuff up the stairs for me, of stuff that I trimmed yesterday. So he's making more flat space. So I need to recut out these spirals that I started yesterday. And now I'm thinking that this was not such an amazing idea. I left them in here so that they would support the weight, but because everything shrinks, they kind of reconnected with the piece itself. So now I'm having to kind of dry cut and get these things out, which is not so easy for me to do on camera. So I'm kind of doing this a little off camera.
I don't know what your count's at, but it's got to be pretty good because there are so many of these things.
I think I'm at about 90.
90?
Yeah.
With a goal of 100?
With a goal of 100. So my goal was to throw 20 pieces tonight or today so that I could be at roughly 110. Because I always try to count for a 10% error. When I do things. Yeah, that was why my goal was to throw 20 things today, so that I would have 110, and then I would have my 10% error. The other thing that he's doing is he's giving me more of these to throw on. Um, I like being able to, especially when they're wet like they were yesterday when I was trimming them, I like to be able to move them around on something stable. So, another one?
Yeah, is that one ready to go up?
It is.
On its head though? Or is he
Yeah.
gonna have to, yeah? These ones here already?
Yep, 2 hands. Anything that's trimmed. I didn't trim anything today, so everything that's trimmed is from yesterday. Oh.
You're gonna have to cover all this.
Okay. And what's nice is all of these swirls that we're taking out of here and whatnot, they all just go back into reclaim so that they can soak up more water so we can throw them again when we're ready. And then these will get taken upstairs. They will dry for a full week. I will take a piece of sponge and I will go around all of this to make sure that there's no sharp edges so that as you pull your yarn through, there can't be any, your yarn won't split, um, it won't pull on that at all. I don't know where he's finding flat space up there for this. I can honestly say that it is so full upstairs. I will do a video of what our garage looks like when I take all the plastic off tomorrow or Sunday morning. But it is crazy, the amount of space that this challenge has taken up. I do have, the kiln has about 25 bowls in it right now. And I got it up to 250 earlier today, and I just opened it, and it was still humid in there. So I don't want to rush it. So my goal is when I'm done throwing tonight, I will um, go up again and I will take it up to another 250 again tonight. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to take it up to 250, maybe even 300. We'll see. But my goal is tomorrow morning to test for humidity by putting something in front of the peepholes and and seeing if we get any moisture out of the pinholes tomorrow morning.
Ooh.
What's up? Did I break it? What's the matter? Oh, it's dry.
No.
Oh, we got a buggy. Show everybody the buggy.
Silverfish. I don't know if they have like a.
Silverfish?
That's what I've always called.
Go for the top one. Nope. A little bit. Yep, there we go. Is it a 100-legger jumpy spider? I mean, my rule is if you come into my house, then I'm allowed to kill you. Spiders I typically take outside. But yeah, everything else, if you come into my house, sorry. That was an unconscious decision that you made that I don't like. um, this one, unfortunately, is stuck on the inside of the spiral somewhere.
I like that place to save yourself in bathtubs.
Yeah. Are you telling me that my pottery studio that I have not turned the dehumidifier on for days is damp? I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy.
Crazy? I was crazy once. I'm good at screwing with copyright. Come on. Alright. This one doesn't want to play nice, and I'm really afraid of breaking it. I was just telling our viewers that I have no idea where you're putting stuff up there, because, like, it is full.
Move the pig back over to the cleaning area so I can paint them over there.
Okay. Y'all piggy. Wish I had eyes everywhere here. Okay. You come out. Thank you. Okay. Okay. One last little section. All right. That one is ready.
Let's not cut it off.
No, I liked that one too much.
Liked it too much. I need to grab the cut butter. Bring that up. I think this is it as far as like, and then you have that one, and that one. But they can go on here, so I think I'm gonna bring these up and be done for now.
Okay. So we're trying to figure out, what stuff we're bringing on the cruise with us. And I was thinking about bringing some gaming stuff to kind of prep for future games. And I think the only thing that I'm going to do there is just bring a notebook to write down ideas. I'm going to bring my crochet stuff so I can work on pieces for to go in the kiln. So I think that's all I'm going to bring with me. I thought he was coming back down, but I guess he's not. So, now, all right, go into public for a little while, see if people want to hang out. All right, there we go. Kick that back up on there again. Cool, cool. All right. So, um, I don't know. I feel like I've talked so much today. I've lost my um I've lost all my things to talk about. Um but I'm finally starting to get like semi excited to go away. And I play a phone game that you really have to log into every day. So I get so many minutes like on the cruise itself for like their Wi-Fi. So I'll probably be doing that. And I will train of thought. Train of thought is do not cut yourself. Do not cut yourself. Do not cut yourself. That is the train of thought at this moment. Hello. Somebody was.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Guess what?
What?
I washed my headset again.
Oh no.
Guess what? It still works.
Yay.
Alright. Simon says hi.
Simon does say hi.
Hour and a half off. Just wanted to let you know. Alright. Bye. Love you.
Bye. Um, so I'm starting to get excited about vacation a little bit. It was a very unexpected vacation. And usually unexpected vacations are not good vacations. They're usually like traveling for funerals or stuff like that. But this one is a good one. So the problem with it was I'm in the middle of this challenge. We just adopted a doggo a few months ago, and I'm loath to leave him in a kennel. For the week. We do have a good kennel, but I'm still loath to leave him in a kennel for the week. I don't want him to feel abandoned by his brand new family. Um, but I am starting to get excited about vacation. We'll go see some family while we're away. We'll get to hang out with them. And it'll be a nice break from the craziness that I have put myself under for the pottery and all the gaming, and it'll be a nice break. So, hiccups. Making myself more room. Um, ah, man. All right, we're gonna have to cut that out tomorrow. Really like that bowl too. All right. The nice thing about yarn bowls is that if you don't like one side of them, that's where you put the curlicue. Oh, that one's ready to go. Okay. Um, okay. So tomorrow, my goal is to have 20 bowls to trim. I remember pushing this one back yesterday going, this is poor decision making on my side. And I was right. Okay. But it's done. Okay. Now one more small one will fit. I don't know if I have a small one. Doesn't look like it. Cool, cool. Let's see. My theory is if I have all these shelves empty, then I have all this free room to work without having to sneak past other stuff over here. to get to the table and whatnot. Oh, two more bowls, put those up there, and then okay, I'm back at it. So I do have one random thing that I have to do tomorrow. I bought sneakers that I hate, so my goal is to return those. I bought toe sneakers from Paluva, thinking I would absolutely adore them. And I think I would have if my feet aren't so like screwed up. Um, the shoes were too short for me, and my pinky toe didn't fit. So, unfortunately, I have to return them. I really, really wanted to. I really wanted to like them. I was really excited for them, but it's okay. I tried. I didn't just say ew. I don't like things between my toes. Actually, I don't mind things between my toes. Um, okay. Cool. Those are done. Now, time to look at this clay here. Um, my shoulders are back to hating me. Not gonna lie. But I have work to do, so it doesn't really matter how much my shoulders hate me. Oh, also, this throwing session is totally not sponsored by Victory Beer. You can trash me all you want. I love Bud Light Lime. Not a huge fan of Budweiser. Love Bud Light Lime. It's just this like lime soda that's amazing. This is by Victory. It's called Vienna Vacay. It's their key lime Vienna style lager. It's like Bud Light mixed with real beer, and love it. Love. Gary got it for us randomly because he knows I like Bud Light Lime. So he figured we could try it. And yeah, success. All right. I have cool. I just keep hearing blibbling, blibbling, blibbling from Discord. All right. Close out of there now. How many tabs can you have open at once? Trust me, a whole lot. Okay, cool. So, I wish Gary would log back in because I have a question for him. Paging Gary. I will actually page him in a second in Discord. I'm curious as to what he does for, because you have to have the material components. You have to have the gold for the material components on hand to cast a spell that requires you to expend material components, such as Find Familiar. But what about the ones that require specific components but do not expend them? Do you have to like pay the gold when you get the spell? So that's my question for him. Discord. General. At Gary. Starlet. Come join. Okay. I haven't played a spellcaster in forever and a year. I don't really get to play much, so I typically just play kind of support characters that don't I'm the cleric. I'm the hired fighter. So I just play a champion and I roam with the party. And I don't typically make any decisions and I don't do anything like that. So my question, so I don't typically play like spellcasters and stuff like that. So all of my stuff always went to like healing kits. Stuff like that. Okay. I realized a long time ago that I can't actually knead on my wheel head because it moves freely. So I have some pieces out there that I'm really excited to see, and I wish they had come through the kiln before I start messing with other stuff. I really want to know how cool it looks when I throw something and then when I throw like a buff color, but I use the Umbria water to throw it with. And then at the end, when I scrape it off, I get like these cool, or not scrape it off, but when I kind of leave like certain areas, I kind of get ribbons of light dark brown around the piece. And I'm kind of curious as to how that looks. And I wish that a couple pieces had come out. Doesn't really matter because these aren't wedged. All I did was make them into balls. Guys, I'm already tired here. Um, like you can hear the air bubbles. Feel them, hear them. Um, train of thought. Yeah, so these aren't wedged at all. These are literally just, I have made them into balls. Um, so what I'm going to do now is I cannot throw anything tomorrow, which is a problem. Mainly because I want to, but no other reason. um, but I will ball these up. I will properly wedge them and I will ball them up and I will weigh them out and probably the day I get back. Okay. So I need a bowl to throw with Umbria. So because this is all buff, I want to take this and I'm just going to put it on my dry bucket over here of buff. And honestly, this really isn't even Umbria that I'm throwing with. This is it's a mix of all of my clays together. But I wanted to keep as much of my buff together as possible. So I just took all the buff pieces out of there. Now I'm just stirring up my water bucket. I'll dump that into there. I'll get myself new water. Unfortunately, I didn't run that long enough for my water to get hot, because I do like throwing with warm water. And that Umbria reclaim up there that I put aside last night, that's looking pretty much done. Just from like looking at it, there's no shiny bits left. So that is probably good for me to wedge up tonight too. Or worst case scenario, tomorrow. Because tomorrow may be wedging and trimming. Still have no idea what I did with my mallet. It's probably right next to me somewhere. But okay. Here we go. So this is the Umbria clay, if you were watching last night. I had some clay that was too wet, and I had some clay that was too dry. This is still kind of wet. So I put them together. I eliminated the pieces, so I took a slice of this too soft, a slice of the too hard, a slice of the too soft, and then I flipped it sideways, and I did it again. I made a little checkerboard out of it, like a checkerboard cake, and then I wedged it real good. That was the part where I was falling asleep. Because you can't sleep and wedge no matter how much you want to. Okay. And this is super soft. So unlike earlier today, where I had to cone a bunch of times just to get some moisture into the clay, that's not going to be an issue this time. I was also so tired last night that I think some of these are 4 pounds and some of these are 3 pounds. Again, it doesn't really matter. Um, I was just trying to keep at least the beginning kind of very strict about what I was throwing. So some of this may have a little bit of a marble effect, because this is 3 different types of clay. There's an air bubble right there. Um, Just compressing that bottom. And this is way more clay or white than Umbria to throw with. It has kind of that cream cheese consistency of clay or white that I'm just not a fan of. This one still has... I usually throw with a sponge in my one hand, or I usually do my pulls with a sponge in my one hand. But because this is so soft, I don't really want to add too much more water to it. All right, now that we've come up, we're going to go out. It's that really bad, I don't want to add any more water to it, but I do need some lubrication here. Okay. Probably would have liked, I don't know though. I'm thinking about me with that. All right. So I have all of these really awesome cloths here that I got from Home Depot that I can wipe my hands on. And unfortunately, I haven't washed them. So, so really I'm just wiping clay on clay. So when I get back, my goal is to, oh God, get those all washed. Um, They need to be thrown in a bucket with a bunch of water and vinegar and mushed around a bunch so that I can rinse them off and then empty the bucket, refill it, rinse them one more time, and then thrown in the laundry. If you're hanging out with me today, I am checking chat. Feeling much better than I have. I got 12 hours of sleep last night, so man, I should be feeling better than I have. um, but ding! I always hate it when I hear something shift because I'm really bad about, um, I'm really good at balancing, but I do balance a whole lot. So it always makes me nervous that something I balanced is not staying balanced. So I just want to compress that bottom. If the bottom ever gets too thin, I can kind of push some down off the sides and do it. Hello.
Hello. Let me go put my dishes away and I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. Now we'll go out. Okay. All right. Another one done.
Boy. That was not what I meant to say, but okay.
Perfect.
So I've discovered an amusing side effect of this fast that I finished.
Okay.
My tolerance for sweet foods has drastically decreased.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for example, normally when I'm in the mood for ice cream, I would make a big bowl of ice cream and just eat it. Where nowadays, I allow myself 2 tablespoons worth of ice cream and that's about it.
So my whole what I used to do all the time was I just wouldn't get a bowl. I would go up to the freezer, I would grab a spoon, go up to the freezer, and take a spoonful of ice cream out and then put the ice cream away.
That's basically what I did.
Yep.
Because I
That is
figured
how I
that
used to
way
eat ice
I'd.
cream.
Come again?
That's how I used to eat ice cream.
Yeah.
And then Gary came along and he thought that was weird.
Why?
Because if you're gonna have ice cream, you need to get like a bowl and like do the whole thing.
I mean, I get it from a social perspective, but I mean, I'm the only one that's going to be eating this particular batch, so. Holy crap! It looks like all my stuff actually stuck around.
All your
Okay, let me double
stuff?
check just to be safe. Huh?
All your stuff?
On my character sheet.
Oh,
Yeah, in particular, the ever smoking bottle was notorious for disappearing when I refreshed. Let's see. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Looks like everything's here. Yay.
that's good.
Now, that being said, I need to adjust my, What? Why? Oh. There we go. Okay, I think my sheet's finally caught up.
I have
I am wondering if I'm testing the boundaries of how much clothing I'm allowed to wear, but
of how much clothing your regular clothing and then like a neck piece for like cloak or cape and then um
okay. So you
a
can't wear a
necklace.
cloak and got it.
Yeah, and then a necklace and a ring.
Well, like for example, I have my clothing, I have my cloak, and I have my armor.
Okay.
Is that
Nope, that's fine.
okay? Cool.
And you don't
Because
have
then
to
I'm not
wear like all of it all the time either.
true, but I'm also aware that what's it called? There is a significant time frame between donning and doffing armor.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to bet Gary won't let me do this armor cast off.
Okay.
And I say I'm willing to bet because I'm already pushing his limits as far as I'm concerned with the armor I got. But I don't know. I won't know until I ask.
Yep. I just made this wall really thin. So we're gonna
Because for my
save.
clothing, I paid some money to get what do you call it? Clothes of mending.
Huh. I have that too.
Because I figure between the clothes of mending and the armor of gleaming, she never has to worry about not looking fabulous.
And I don't wear clothing, so I just have a really warm cloak. That's the cloak of mending. And yeah, so I have some warm clothes. And normally it just is wrapped around all the stuff in my
Right.
pack.
Where she will have two different bottles strapped to her waist. One will be a bottle of boundless coffee, or as I'm flavoring it, espresso, and one will be a tankard of sobriety.
Cool.
The goal is to be able to challenge somebody to a drinking contest and see if they realize I'm conning them.
Performance checks.
Come again?
Performance or deception.
I mean, yeah, technically, I would think deception, which. Let me double check. If my understanding is correct, it won't let me see that. That's odd. It's not letting me see my modifiers for those skills.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it shows me the skills, but not their modifiers. That's strange.
Click on it and roll it. See what
Sure.
happens.
Deception. Okay, so apparently I have a +7 to deception.
There you go. Nice.
Where, on the other hand, you suggested performance. Holy crap.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I apparently have a +13 to performance.
There you go. You have expertise.
Yeah, I rolled a 32.
There you go.
Why did I not take expertise in deception? How did I not get expertise in deception? I thought that was one of the skills it let me take.
You should be able to look through it and see what you took. But it's
Like
not
looking at my
showing you.
features and traits.
Yeah, it's not showing you what you took. So never mind. That was a stupid statement.
I mean, it could be just a simple matter of my character sheet being too small, but let me see. Come now, let me oh, it won't let me do that. Oh, just let me move it. That's dumb.
Hello.
Hello.
He hath been summoned.
I have. Oh, that actually. Now that I think about it, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I will say it does feel strange to me playing a glamour bard of all things, but I was going for a 2024 class option.
I just realized that I could do this on the computer because I'm also currently listening to something, but I can listen to that and talk to you guys at the same time as long as I'm not on my phone on Discord.
Heyo.
Okay.
Hello.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Um, for the components that, how do you rule things? Because I know how I rule things. I make people have the components that they that they need for a spell. I want them to have the
Yeah.
actual components.
Uh-huh.
Um, but you're like, I just need you to have the gold for it.
Okay. So here's my thought process on it is I can't manage your character. I can't like micromanage who has what components, and I don't want to deal with any of that. Um, I can say, hey, I want you guys to have the right components, and if you don't have them, you can't cast your spells. But I'm going largely on good faith that people would be doing that.
Right.
So that's part of my issue with it.
Okay.
I have one other issue with components, and that's that I feel like you already have such a limited use of your spells as it is in your spell slots. And to have spells that you can't cast because you don't have said component, I just think it feels bad as a player. I mean, that's my own opinion. Um,
Oh, I just now
Okay.
realized that.
I think some spells are abusable when you don't need to have the components.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, um, like Revivify, right? Revivify, Resurrection, Raise Dead. Those those spells. The other thing with me, like actually requiring the legit uh, components, is that I need to then have a place that you can buy said things, and we need to like take time in game and like have you actually buy or acquire those components, and I can have more of a place now because there can be places that you need to go to purchase the components. um I think that the components can lead to interesting gameplay, like the restriction in the ink is the big one that comes to me when I was playing Kothar. It made it interesting because, like, all of a sudden, the thing that, like, I thought I should be able to do, I couldn't do, and I needed to try to work around or, like, sail across the ocean. But, um, you know, um, it was interesting. So, um,
Okay, can I ask my question now?
yeah, sorry.
um, so you always said that we could just, as long as we had the gold on our sheets, we could cast the spells
Uh-huh.
and just use the gold. But what about
Yeah.
things that don't get consumed? So like the 1500 gold piece of diamond,
If it's not consumed, I would have never expected you to spend the money.
to even have it.
Yeah. I mean, the only the only reason that you need to have um, those expensive components that are consumed is because you have to keep spending the money over and over again. The other ones, you just have to have it once. Um, anyway.
Um, okay, so then like the 3,000, and I'm going to buy it anyway because that's how I do it. But like, so you're saying that like the 3,000 gold that I'm using on spell components because I need 1,500 for Force Cage and 1,500 for the one we discussed earlier that I can't think of what it's called now. Um, Contingency. You're
I mean, the
saying
bottom line is, I know you would prefer that I
no, I'm asking,
institute a
I'm not asking you to
a
institute anything.
uh,
I'm asking in general how you rule those things. Because I was
I
thinking about
typically
it today, and you've
I
always said,
I
as long
typically
as we have the goal to spend,
I
to just,
typically as a player and as a DM don't like that minutia in general. That's me. Um,
okay.
but um, I don't know. I'm one to sometimes hand wave stuff just because I don't like it for whatever reason, and it's there for a good reason. So,
Well, so I think it is there for a good reason, and I think it's there because everyone's like, well, if you're playing D&D, the only way to go is a spellcaster because they're the most powerful, blah blah blah. And realistically, I don't think that's true because if you're having to do spell components and all of that, then um I think the marshals make up for it significantly because of they can put their money towards magic items and things like that.
it's it's tough to say, right? And like each game needs to be taken on its own merits, right? At this point, for the most part, Pathfinder has done away with components. Looking in D&D itself, um, obviously in 5th edition and even in the 2024 rules, it does put an emphasis on the components. AD&D 2nd edition does have components listed, but you know what? The components are optional. The entire subsystem to use components, despite the fact that they have all the wacky components for every single spell, is completely optional. So even even back then, now I don't know like first edition original Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if and how important the components were. It might have just been flavor that like if you were going to cast fireball then you like sprinkled some bat guano. Um I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think the video gamer in me wants to say that like if your resource is the spell slot and you should just be able to cast the spells. You learned the spells, you should be able to just cast them. But on the other hand, they are very generous about being able to switch out your spells and if you don't have the components to cast the spells, then you just don't prepare those spells. Now, some classes have very slow ability to swap spells. Um, the biggest thing that I can tell you is I don't want to micromanage it. I don't want to be like looking over people's sheets to say, okay, do you have the component for that spell?
Oh no, I
Like,
agree
I
with
don't
that.
want
And
to,
I'm not going to look over people's sheets either. I'm just going to believe that they have when we're in a town and they're just like, "Hey, I refill my spell components." And I'm like, "Cool, just spend the money." Um
yeah. I mean, it's to me, it's like it's almost the same as like tracking ammunition. It sucks. Like I get it that like especially when the um ammunition is scarce, like arrows and stuff, that tracking them is important because if you run out of arrows, then you're out of arrows. You're not shooting anymore. You're
Right.
down to whatever melee weapons you have. So in a setting where that scarcity is important, that is interesting.
But doesn't it also
But
balance the spellcasters with the marshals? Because I mean, already, when does your when do your cantrips go up? Fifth level to like 2 die instead of one?
right,
Like marshals
that's the
don't do
same
that.
time. That's the
No,
same
but at
time
the
that
same
marshals
time,
get
by fifth
extra
level,
attack.
marshals get extra attack.
Not all of them.
Marshals do. Well, except the ranger, rogue. Rogue is the only marshal that doesn't get extra attack. The only straight marshal. I mean, because like cleric, even if they are marshal bent, they're not a marshal.
Right. Yeah, they have spell slots too.
Paladins, rangers, barbarians, fighters, monks. The only one that doesn't is a rogue. Doesn't get extra attack.
Yeah. So like, you know, a fighter is swinging a sword with a D8 and um for twice a turn at fifth level, and
Right.
someone and a wizard, if there's only one combat a day, a wizard is casting fireball with 68.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think at least spending the money on the spell components is important because the marshals can at least spend their money on getting updated equipment. But giving spellcasters updated equipment and all of their spells, I just think is wrong. But anyway, okay, so back to my question. Oh my goodness, I'm so totally getting off track. Um, so for your games, um, you don't require, so you don't even require people to spend the gold to cast the spell that that requires components that like revivify.
I never have. This is like the first time that I've ever cared about that. This campaign is the first time that I've ever cared about that. But
Okay.
prior to this, no. When we did Humanity's Return in 5e, I didn't. When I did um Innistrad, I didn't. When I did um Calling from the Void, I didn't. This is the first time that I've and it really just came down to like I don't know, if you're in the moment and like I mean, you didn't already purchase the diamond for Revivify, but you have the spell slot and you have it prepared, but you have the money, you have the 300 gold, um, then I don't know. I feel like, fine, deduct 300 gold from your sheet and cast Revivify. It kind of makes uh what that does is it works okay, like I hate Vancian spellcasting. I hate it with a bloody burning passion, and I'm gonna play a druid in Pathfinder, and I'm gonna make myself be okay with Vancian spellcasting. You know, the funny thing is, I shouldn't have the problem that I have with Vancian spellcasting because I played through up to level 5 in a solo adventure in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons that uses Vancian spellcasting, where I had to say, this spell slot is heal, 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 because I need to be able to heal myself, and I can't cast any other spells, even though I know them all. I can't cast them because I have to cast heal. And I feel like by letting people spend the money on the components when they cast the spells,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making them ahead of time say, I need to have this, and I need to have this, and I need to have this, and I need to have this. Your money is a resource pool, then, that you're just, you know, cashing in when you need to cast the spell rather than like, well,
Okay.
I spent 300 gold on this diamond for Revivify, but now I really could use this, whatever it is, but I don't have it because I bought this diamond.
Okay, so that
Um,
that sentence right there is the answer that I was looking for. So like the 1500 gold would have gone towards both the ruby dust and I don't know, I'm making it up, the diamond dust that I needed for two different spells. So as long as I had 1500 gold on my character sheet, I could cast either one of those.
those are both consumed?
No.
Okay. So I wasn't even tracking for components that weren't consumed. Only stuff that was consumed, then you would deduct it off your sheet. But that's what I was doing.
Hmm.
Is that what I should do going forward? I don't know.
I mean, you can do whatever you want going forward. It was literally a question that I had in my brain as I'm sitting here
Yeah.
throwing about how you rule that stuff.
Well, I just know you have strong opinions when it comes to components. And
Okay, but it's not my game.
it's not. But at the same time, I constantly feel like, and this is like probably me reading into things, but that like I can't do anything right and I am always doing the wrong thing. So, like, yes, by the rules in the book, I'm supposed to enforce that you need the components, and if they have a cost, if it doesn't list a cost, I don't even think that I need to make sure you have it. Like, I don't need to make sure that you have back guano. It doesn't have a cost associated with it.
Right, and if there's
In
no
fact,
cost
if you have a
associated with it,
focus or a
yeah,
component pouch, it's assumed that you have it.
right,
If it has a value attached to it, then you're supposed to actually have that legit item on you. And if it's consumed, then you're supposed to have it on you, and it's consumed.
right.
Um, there's also like horrid rules for spellcasting.
Such
And if
as?
I played the rules, even with as much as Adam likes spellcasters, you would not play a spellcaster ever again.
Such
I'm
as?
sure you would. Well, I told you about the one with like if you were wielding a weapon and a shield, even with Warcaster, you have to like I don't remember that one video that I was watching explained it, but you'd have to like um but free interaction, put your weapon away, and then you don't have like a way to draw the component because you only get one free interaction.
Hmm.
So your other option is drop your sword and then use your free interaction to draw the component, and then you can cast the spell. But then on the next turn, you'd have to pick your sword back up, and I think it was clunkier than that, but you put this, yeah, if you put the sword away, you could spend your action to draw the component, and then you can't cast the spell because you don't have your action. So then the next round, um, you could use your action to cast a spell and pick your weapon back up. Well, actually, I guess you could draw your weapon. Um, anyway, the juggling with the components is really clunky. I mean, technically, though, in fifth, you're not supposed to be able to do a whole lot of spell casting with both your hands full.
Right.
Um,
without Warcaster.
Pathfinder, Pathfinder, and I know it's two different systems. They allow you to cast with your hands full because you're doing the somatic manipulate type things. Uh, you're um, anyway, you could do it with your hands full. I'm pretty sure. Um, and they don't have material components for the spells anymore.
Okay, so you're saying in fifth edition
Yeah.
to draw a component, it takes an action?
Well, you would have to uh, normally like interact with an object, which you
Okay.
can do once per turn for free
Uh-huh.
to draw
Right,
it.
it's like drawing a potion. You'd have to draw it out of your bag and then take a second action to drink it.
Well, no, I'm talking about for fifth
Well,
edition, not Pathfinder.
not an action to draw it, an action to drink it like in Pathfinder. No, this would be in fifth edition. You get one free interaction with an object per turn. So it can be stowing a weapon, drawing a weapon, opening a door, drawing a potion. So when people drink a potion as a bonus action in fifth edition, it's assumed that they're using their once per turn free interaction with an object to draw that potion,
Okay, that makes
and
sense.
then their bonus action to drink it. But if your hands are full, you can't technically draw that potion unless you're dropping your sword. You would have to free interact with an object, put your sword away, action, draw the potion, and bonus action drink it. That actually sounds kind of backwards, but that's how it would work now. Because technically, if you do a second object interaction, it is a full action
Mm-hmm.
if you interact with a second object. I typically, depending on what it is, I would let you do another object interaction with a bonus action. Now, it does step on the toes of the thief rogue, but I think only in the sense of like if they're using an object in the sense of like uh, throwing caltrops, throwing ball bearings, that kind of object interaction, then I think you step on the toes of the thief rogue.
Mm-hmm.
But I think um, if you wanted to like there was a control panel with a bunch of levers. You could throw one lever as an interact with an object. By the rules, it's your action to throw another one. I would let you throw another one as a bonus action. Like, why is that a whole action? And then if you wanted to throw a third, it would be your action. But I don't know. That's just me. Like, there's certain times where I would allow a bonus action to interact with another object.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would let you put away one thing and use your bonus action to draw another. But by the rules, no, it's your action to draw another thing. Um, so yeah, I mean, if your hands are full, technically, you can't very easily draw a potion and drink it. In Pathfinder, you wouldn't be able to either, though, because you can't draw that potion with two things in your hands. You would have to use an action to put. Well, actually, you could swap though. Now, one action, put one thing away, draw another. But um, fifth edition does let you draw a weapon as part of making an attack. So I guess if you had multiple weapons on yourself, you could drop your weapon. If you had a sword and a shield, drop the weapon, interact with an object to draw the potion, bonus action to drink it, and then use your action to attack, and as part of that attack, draw your other weapon. Like that's one way to get around that. And we're off, base of the question on spellcasting, but
That's okay, I got my answer.
the answer is really, I mean, and even Warcaster doesn't get you completely around it. I don't have the new book because it's in the bedroom, but I don't think that they changed that piece of Warcaster very much. So I can look at what the old book said on Warcaster. You can perform the somatic components of spells even when you have weapon and shields in one or both hands. But that's the thing, somatic. So if the spell requires a component, um,
You still
Warcaster
need a
doesn't
hand
help
for the
you with it.
material.
It only helps you with the somatic component.
Right.
The Warcaster isn't like a lot of people just take Warcaster as, oh, I can cast whatever, however. No. And certain classes like clerics can have their holy symbol like emblazoned on a shield, and that's fine unless the spell requires uh, a costly component that's consumed. Then you need to actually manipulate the component. So, I mean, by raw, spellcasting with weapons and shields is clunky. If you keep a hand free, it's fine, but Gish type characters are definitely by raw punished, even with Warcaster. Um, but anyway, um, ultimately, honestly, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me if the players want to, but it should be like across the board for sure. Or if a player just wants to, like you want to make sure you have whatever components or whatever, that's admirable. But like it's also possible that, as a group we talk about it and figure out like how you guys want, or I can just make the call. But I know as a player, I very much don't like it. Like it's honestly, it's why I picked a fighter to play. It's why I picked a rogue to play, why I picked a monk to play, and why I tried to make sure that the spells that I take don't have costly components. Benjamin had a couple, and it was like holy water for bless, I think. But um, I do purposely try to avoid spells with costly components as a player when it's important to have them. Because I don't want to be in that position where I need to cast the spell and I can't because I don't have the thing.
Okay.
I'd rather not take the spell. But that's me as a player. So when I
No, I
DM,
understand that.
when I when I DM, I I I in good conscience, I don't feel like forcing the thing that I don't like to deal with as a player on my players.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know. It's like it's hard for me to just put my foot down and say, you know, will we'll use like you'll have to have the components. But I think this is a good setting for that because Hillport is a good place to where you could restock.
Hmm.
Where delving 23 floors of a dungeon where you might not have time to restock you know, it's a lot. It's a lot harder.
Yeah, I guess.
Um,
I don't I don't necessarily agree. Oh, I mean, I agree, but I don't necessarily like there's so many, especially going in at level 12. Um
mhm.
like it was so easy for me to jump into that Excel spreadsheet and just go, okay, I have all these spells. I want to be able to cast this 2 or 3 times, this 5 times, and I need these material components because um, they don't get used up, and I have the spell, so I need to have it on hand.
Yeah, and I mean, wizards are also. This is like back to what you were saying about like spending money, but wizards are also spending a lot of money on learning new spells, which is something that, and then it is wizard specific because the other classes aren't doing that. Um,
Right. I don't know. Zanny, you think that between spellcasters and marshals, they're pretty much um, equal as to like damage output and things they can buy and whatnot without having to deal with spell components?
Um, damage output, yes and no. I would say for what it's worth, like for example, at the end of the day, you're going to see a high level fighter doing like anywhere from 6 to 12 attacks around. You're not going to see a spellcaster casting 6 to 12 spells. That being said, the spellcaster makes up for it with high level spells that do comparatively decent amounts of damage. So it's
well,
like
Comparatively more.
you basically end up picking your poison there.
you're also limited. Like those high level spells are like once, maybe twice a day. You
Whereas that
know,
fighter can do those 6 to 12 attacks every round, basically, depending
and
on how they do them.
And the other big thing that fighters and marshals get, and this is, I think, often overlooked, they get their strength or dexterity to their damage, where spellcasters, their cantrips don't typically get their spellcasting ability to the damage. So, yeah, the
Nowadays, I think
the wizard might be casting firebolt for a D10, and the fighter might be swinging his sword for a D8 or a D10. It could be 2d6, depends on what kind of weapon he's using, right? But
Hmm.
he's also adding plus anywhere up to like 3 to 5, probably. Um, so that's where warlocks do with Eldritch Blast, because with Agonizing Blast, and they get all those bolts, and they get to add their charisma to each one. That's the thing that makes Eldritch Blast like better than the other cantrips. But pound for pound, a marshal's going to deal more damage. Um, but spellcasters can do things like, hypnotize a 30-foot cube, or um, deal 86 damage to a 20-foot sphere, or um, and yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that in the late game, especially the spells are game altering.
Hmm.
They are. They are.
and that's why you're only allowed to use one, two tops of each one.
And with you guys at level 12, at level 11, you got access to 6 level spells, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it levels the playing field. significantly with needing spell components.
It definitely limits the spells that um it limits the spells that have costly components because like I know I know for a fact that that situation that happened in your first Silver Spoon where Lucy and her family got killed and me and Ryan spent like 2.5 days casting Resurrection and True Resurrection. Like that would not have been the case.
Hmm.
We wouldn't have had the diamonds probably to have resurrected her and her entire family.
No, but you probably would have
Um,
had the money to go back to town and get the diamonds.
um, so the problem that you run into, honestly, because I've seen it, I've experienced it as a player, is that when resurrection is so cheap, death is cheap and
Hmm.
very easily reversed. And it does it feels powerful to be able to raise the dead the way that we did. That was a cool moment for us.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it no doubt makes for a situation where uh, like it doesn't matter. Kill whoever you want, and we'll raise them. Kill the whole town. We'll raise the whole town. It'll take a month, but we'll raise the whole town. Like,
Right.
um,
Depending on how strong the wizard is, yeah. You could also use Wish, like what happened with the original Magellan case.
well, I wish, but I'm just even talking just at 13th level when when people have access to resurrection, and I mean even raise dead to some extent, but that's a 10-day limit. You have a year. Is it a year? 100 years? 100 years on resurrection? 100 years, I think it is. You know, you could go into a town that was completely wiped out, and as long as there's remains, bring the whole town back. Um,
Yeah, it's got 100
and that's a
years.
seventh level spell. Yeah, I mean, you can only cast it once per day. At 15th level, you could use your 8th level slot to cast it again. And essentially, that's what we were doing was like, we had ninth level spells at that point, so it was like true resurrection, 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 resurrection,
Right.
rest next day, do it
Which
again, and then
which that reminds me, the spell True Resurrection.
yeah.
Let's say you've got somebody who's wearing like that dragon scale mail. If
Uh,
somebody cast True Resurrection on that dragon scale mail, would that scale mail become a whatever dragon it was made of?
I mean, if you're trying to true resurrect the dragon, I suppose, but um, it's gonna do this. You don't even need for true resurrection. You only need to know the person's name. You don't even need any piece of them. But it's not gonna just like if they're
But
wearing dragon scale, it's not gonna resurrect the dragon. It's gonna resurrect the person, unless you wanted to resurrect the dragon. Then I guess it would. So I think my point is that like some spells are derelict when they are cast willy nilly. And the biggest ones that stand out to me are Revivify, Raise Dead, Resurrection, True Resurrection, uh, Simulacrum, and then Wish gets you around. all of that, because Wish can copy any 8th level spell or lower from any list, and you don't need the components. And it also, you know, it's a single action no matter how long the casting normally is. And if you cast it that way, you do not have the 33% chance of losing Wish. So, um, Wish is a funky one. I want to call it derelict, but it's not, but it is, but it can be, but it really depends on how it's used and how it's interpreted. Um, a lot of spells I don't think are so derelict though that you actually should need most of the components. Um, I'm gonna look up a couple examples. Let's see what I
Um,
think.
just go to
Here,
go to that Sheets page, hon.
Hero's Feast. A gem encrusted bowl worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. I mean, why? Why? It's your 6th level spell slot, and if you want to give that benefit, and especially if what I don't know what lists it's on. Hero's Feast is I
Cleric.
think definitely cleric.
I think it's
Um,
on Druid, but don't quote me on that.
but it is a good spell. Wow, you would think it would be on the bard list too, but I think I had it as a bard, but that's because of Magical
Magical
Secret.
Secrets. Yeah.
Um,
Which I was toying with it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
Hero's Feast is on the Druid list, yeah. Um, I thought it was on the cleric list. It is on the cleric list. Cleric and Druid. I think that's it. So, I mean, the thing with clerics and druids is that you can just not prepare the spell for the day if you don't have the component. So, maybe that's fine. Um, I don't. I mean, it is a good spell, but is it so good?
What does it do again? I'm sorry.
Uh,
It's a
the
mega.
creatures who partake in the feast, they're cured of all diseases and poison, become immune to poison, and being frightened, make wisdom saving throws with advantage. Your hit point maximum increases by 2d10 and it gains the same number of hit points. It
I mean,
lasts for 24 hours.
if
Uh,
you did, here's the thing. Even at a 6th level spell slot, having all of
yeah,
my players immune to poison and cured of everything that I just like threw at them the day before, like that
yeah.
sucks. So yeah, for 1,000 gold, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Right. I think the question is, where the hell are you going to find that kind of bowl specifically? Because you're not going to find that at your average mom and pop store.
No, but you'll
Well,
find
you
it
might
at,
have to craft it.
yeah, you may have to craft
You
it,
might need.
or you could go to like a fine place in a city.
Which in that case, odds are you're going to spend more to buy the materials to make the bowl than the $1,000 that it's worth.
Not if you not if you were a crafter, not if you were a potter or even a jeweler, I would say, used to working with metals.
Um,
But, and then the other thing is a noble can give it to you as a gift for saving their son. Did I lose everybody?
Hmm.
Okay. I was going to say, did I lose everybody? It went so quiet.
Oh, still here.
No, I'm multitasking and I was lost in thought.
Oh yeah, I was fully coming up with nobles that would give you guys a random bowl at some point.
I mean, all right, Lehman's secret chest. Now it doesn't consume um the material, but an exquisite chest 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet constructed from rare materials with at least 5,000 gold pieces, and a tiny replica made from the same material worth at least 50 gold pieces. I mean, you do get like a quest to be able to cast that spell.
Hmm.
Like just being able to acquire those two things could be a quest in and of itself. But like I don't know why. It's not consumed by the spell. It's all story that you have this big chest and this little chest and
Aren't we
um
specifically telling stories?
yeah, but I mean like you could just have this. I mean like I said, it could be a whole quest to get and or make this 5,000 gold piece chest and the tiny replica. Um but beyond the flavor of the spell where um you hide a chest and its contents on the ethereal plane. You must touch the chest and the miniature replica that serves as the material component for the spell. The chest contains blah blah blah. Okay. While the chest remains on the ethereal plane, you can use an action and touch the replica to recall the chest. It appears in an unoccupied space in the ground next to you. I mean, I guess it is a powerful spell in that you have access to a chest's worth of goods at any time. That is pretty good.
Yeah. And if you run with a DM that, likes to steal stuff off of you, um, then it's even better. All right. Well, all those balls were used. I think I'm done for the day. Do I try to throw that? No. Nope. Nope. I'm done for the day. Okay.
I mean, Magic Mouth is not like super strong. That has, and it's just 10 gold piece, but a small bit of honeycomb and jade dust worth at least 10 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. Essentially, you set like an illusory thing that will talk,
Yep.
so it can like deliver messages and stuff. I mean, imagine not having the jade and the honeycomb, but you know the spell, but you can't cast it. It's not like game breaking, and it takes your second. Oh, it's a ritual, so I guess you could just ritual it, cast it for free. But even then, I think you still need the material.
Yeah.
Even if you do ritual it, you just don't spend the spell slot.
Yep.
Um,
So I've got an interesting question concerning my character sheet.
yeah,
If I wanted to take some certain supplies, but I don't have the proficiency for those supplies, how do I use them?
you
Poorly.
don't have the proficiency, but you want the tools.
Right.
You just drop the tool on your sheet, and then when you use it, it won't add your proficiency bonus.
Oh.
There's a weird, interesting thing where if you're proficient and you use a skill that you're proficient with the tool, you have advantage on it. I don't really fully understand how that's worded in the player's handbook, the new one.
Oops.
It's kind of weird.
I also just realized I need
Um,
to pay attention to what I'm doing.
But here, like mass heal, right? It's no component, but restore 700 hit points divided as you choose among any number of creatures.
Yeah, but isn't that a 9th level spell?
Yeah, but no components, 700 hit points. Um,
Yeah, but that's a 9th level spell. It doesn't
Exactly.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
cure
you're
you of
literally only
anything.
casting that once a day.
Mass suggestion does require a components, but no cost to them. Snake's tongue and either a bit of honeycomb or a drop of sweet oil. And mass suggestion is I want to say it's derelict, but it's definitely very strong. I ended some of your encounters with that, Allie.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm all for
Um,
it.
I'm just saying that there are like encounter ending spells, and then too, you know, there's your 6th level spell slot, right? Is that better? That encounter ending spell better than Hero's Feast? I mean, I guess. I guess Hero's Feast is better. But just the plethora of benefits
Mhm.
from it. But
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end stream for the day. Um, I have thrown everything that I have um, pre-balled up for. I think I'm over 100 now in the things that I've thrown. Um, Tomorrow I'm going to trim everything that I threw today, and then I'm going to wedge and ball up everything that I have kind of sitting out um, for the day, and I'll have that for the day that I get back. I'll probably throw a couple more things as a just in case. But right now, I'm going to go start the kiln and get it up to about 250 degrees or so, and then I'll let it sit
wow,
kind of overnight and let things dry out.
250. That's
250.
daring.
Well, water boils at 212, and the pieces themselves aren't going to get up that hot. It's just the air in the kiln that's going to get up to 250 because that's what the thermocouple gets up to.
Depending on your
Um,
elevation, it might boil at different temperatures.
that's also true. We're not very high.
Ah,
So, yeah, the pieces aren't going to get up that going to get up to that degree. So I'm not so much concerned about that. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna see if any more humidity comes out of it, because wow, is that garage humid after throwing 100 pots and letting them all air dry. Um, I actually had the dehumidifier on for a couple hours the other day. But anyway, if you're following along, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it, and I'll be back tomorrow to trim some more. Have fun.